Naturalist role is one of those roles that a lot of people seem to sleep on, but there are a lot of cool aspects to this role. And this video is going to be a comprehensive guide of absolutely everything in the naturalist role to help you make money easier and rank up faster. If you like these kind of videos, why not consider subscribing and ringing the bell? That'll make sure that you get notified when I post, and it will help the channel out as well. So let's get into it. To start the naturalist role, you will have to go to the Welcome Center in Strawberry. Here you will meet both Gus and Harriet, and you will be able to purchase the sample kit after the initial cutscene. If you want to purchase this later, you will be able to. You'll just have to go to Harriet's store, and from there you will be able to purchase the sampling kit. Harriet has set her camp up at 3 locations across the map. You'll find her east of McFarlane Ranch, you'll find her west of Wallace Station, and you'll also find her just northwest of the Graph. If you kill too many animals on your travels, well, Harriet will be upset with you, and this can kind of close her store access to you for around 5 minutes. She'll actually spray you, and then you won't be able to access her store until she cools off. Harriet has a bunch of items here for you to purchase, and one of these is the 22 sedative ammo. You'll definitely need this for your varmint rifle, as you'll need it in order to sedate and sample all the animals. You'll also be able to purchase the kit here as the sample kit, and once you unlock it, you'll be able to purchase the wilderness camp, which is a must purchase item, I believe, here. This gives you a very quick and convenient way to craft some items from anywhere, as you just call in the wilderness camp. So if you see a daily challenge asking you to cook some items, well, that's a very quick way to do it. When you have the naturalist role as well, you might have a challenge that will ask you to craft 7 items at this camp, and the best way to do this, I've always found, is crafting split point ammo. But the absolute essential thing you need to hear is to pick up the pamphlet over at the fence for $1,260, which will allow you fast travel via the wilderness camp. This is because you'll be able to call this camp in from almost anywhere, and you'll be able to quickly travel to any of the major settlements. You'll also be able to travel to your camp for just $1, regardless of where it is on the map. So if you're trying to save a little bit of money and you need to go across the entire map, it might be worth calling in your camp to that side of the map and then using your wilderness camp to fast travel to your camp for $1. Also, if you need to go AFK for a little bit of time, like maybe use some stuff to do around your house, you can also use the fast travel at the wilderness camp to become invincible and go AFK. You won't have to worry about any griefers just taking you out a few times while you're away from your computer. That said, if you are just resting at the camp or crafting at your camp, you won't be invincible, and anyone can shoot you while you're at that. You'll also be able to pick up some tonics at the store. I don't find a huge use of these tonics, but it can be, I suppose, handy if you want to increase or decrease your weight. I don't think there's much use really for the animal farm ones, animal reviver and stuff like that. Like, they can become a little bit useful, but it's not overly useful. There's also going to be some pamphlets that you can purchase from Harriet here. Again, not overly useful, as you know, it'll probably be easier just for you to purchase the items as opposed to crafting them. If you are going to purchase them, I'd wait till there's an event month where all of these will be on sale, and then you might want to have a look through. One of the cooler pamphlets you can unlock are the Vitalism study pamphlets, which will be unlocked once you reach rank 5. These pamphlets allow you to become an animal for a short period of time in a few locations. There are 4 pamphlets for you to choose from: the buck, the rabbit, the boar, and the opossum. To do this, you must first collect either 3 or 5 plants, depending on the animal, which are called Harrietum officinalis and are scattered across the map. Here are all the locations of the plants across the map, and I'll also put a link in the video so you can just find some exact locations of a few. But once you have enough plants, you just have to go to one of the 4 locations where you can transform into an animal, each location having a different animal you can transform. You will see the exact location with this gold smoke here. You just have to go over and interact with it. So for the boar, if you want to transform into that, you'll find the exact spawning location over in Bulger Blade, just there. For the opossum, you will find it just north of Limpany and south of Valentine. Just here is the exact location. The spawn location for the rabbit is over in Tall Trees. Just here is the exact spot. And for the buck, you'll find it by the tree just below Hanging Dog Ranch in Big Valley. If you bought the pamphlet and you get there and you don't see the gold core, just make sure you read the pamphlet, because sometimes it won't work until you've read the pamphlet, which is the same for other pamphlets also. Another hidden feature here is that once you have obtained one of the pamphlets, if you go to your campfire at night, you will see a new prompt that says burn Harriet Officinalis. Of course, you will need a few in your inventory for this to show up, but depending on the pamphlets that you own, you will see the outline of a ghost around the fire. And if you want to see another animal ghost, just throw another plant on the fire. You also will have the option to do some missions over at Harriet's shop. There's going to be two types of missions that you can do. There's going to be poacher missions, which will just be you rescue a random animal from some poachers. But more importantly, once you reach level 5, you're going to have the legendary animal sightings. We'll get into these a bit more later, but suffice to say that these are very, very, very useful. Just be careful that you're pressing X to select them and not square, as square will launch a poached animals mission and it's X that will launch the legendary animal sighting mission. If you visit Gus's store, you will also have two options of selling and buying. If you decide to sell some of your items, as far as I'm aware, it's going to be the same price you'll get as if you sold them to the butcher, but he does have a few unique items here that you can buy. The first are garment sets. There is 42 different garment sets, and you'll unlock each one of these once you hunt and kill the corresponding legendary animal. To get these options to show up, you'll have to kill a particular animal, then you'll have to skin it, and then sell the pelt to Gus, in which case he will be able to craft the particular coat that you want. Yeah, some other clothing you can just purchase straight away. You don't have to do any hunting and gathering of resources for him to make them, but easily one of the most useful things he sells are his legendary animal trinkets and talismans. And to be honest, I'd probably recommend you kind of trying to get all of these eventually. The one I found probably the most use is picking the herbs. Like you get 2 instead of 1 each time you pick it. And I'm often making like big game meat with like some herbs, particularly mint, and it does make that process so much faster. But the way this will work is, just say you want the ram horn trinket, you'll have to get yourself 1 bighorn horn, 1 Aubrey onyx ring, and then sell them to Gus. And then once he has those items for the cost of $550, you'll be able to purchase that trinket. He also has some equipment. He has some made to order saddlebags, which are pretty cool. It's the same way as the talismans. You give him some stuff and he'll be able to make it for you. He also has a bunch of skins for the improved bow. They don't improve the stats, but they do make it look really cool. And he does also have ammunition for the elephant rifle, which is also the exclusive Naturalist gun, which I think is a pretty powerful gun, but with its reload speed, it's not overly great, but it does have a bit of a kick, which makes it kind of funny when you're shooting it. So there is a bunch of ways to rank up and get role XP for the Naturalist role. I'll put a list up here of all the XP, but the main way you're going to be leveling up as well as ranking up to the Naturalist role is by selling samples. To do this, you'll want to make sure that you have a varmint rifle and it's loaded up with sedative ammo. Again, if you need sedative ammo, you can pick it up from any of Harriet's camps. It's probably best to collect samples in the immediate area around Harriet's camp, just so you can quickly sell your samples as well as restock your ammo when needed. When you find a target animal that you want to sample, you just want to double check to make sure that you do have sedative ammo loaded up in your varmint rifle, and then you want to keep shooting the animal until you see a red X or until you hear the audio cue. This means that the animal has got enough sedative and it will collapse soon. Be wary about shooting very small animals such as birds or chipmunks, as a single shot will kill them instantly, which could result in Harriet spraying you when you go back to her camp, and you'll have to wait that 5 minutes for the cooldown. If it's your first time approaching an animal after getting the Naturalist role, you might have the option to study it or track it, and if this is an option, you might want to do that, as it will update that detail on the animal field guide and you'll get a little bit extra XP for it. The larger the animal, the more shots it will take, but it's worth keeping in mind that you're going to be getting more or less 50 XP for the sample regardless of the animal size. Now, farm animals will only get you 25 XP for the sale, and legendary animals will get you 400 XP for the sales. So targeting smaller animals that you can actually sedate will mean you're using less ammo and you'll have quicker turnover. Once they're knocked out, you can sample them, and if you have any revivers, you will also have the option to revive them. This will give you an additional 10 XP once they're revived. I tend not to do this as you can't sample the animal once it's been revived, and I have wasted some time knocking out the same animal twice without realizing it. Also worth keeping in mind here that you can only hold 10 animal samples for each animal in your satchel at any given time. After that, you won't have the option to sample that particular animal anymore. Once you are full up with samples, you can return to Harriet and sell your samples. That said, if you're a bit structured with how you sell them, you can really take advantage of an extra 1000 XP for selling collections. In the animal field guide, which you can access via the weapon wheel, you will find a bunch of collections on animals by their habitat. Every time you sell a sample, you will get a stamp for an animal in those collections. And when you have all of the stamps of a particular collection, you can trade them in via the animal field guide and get an extra 1000 XP. The trick here is you can only get one stamp per animal at a time until the collection is traded in. It will then reset, and the next time you sell a sample of that animal to Harriet, you will get another stamp. So if you wanted to maximize this, what you would do is collect 10 samples of every animal in a particular collection and then sell one of each to Harriet. You would then go into your animal field guide and trade in the collection to get your 1000 XP, and then go back and sell another one of each of the animals from the collection back to Harriet, then back into the animal field guide, trade in the collection, and rinse and repeat. This is probably the fastest way to rank up the Naturalist role, but it is worth keeping in mind that Rockstar does run events each month, and sometimes the collector role will be the theme of that event, meaning that it will be on sale and it will have bonuses. For example, while I was recording some footage, it was currently giving triple XP for all Naturalist sales, which means for that 50 XP animal, you're now getting 150 XP, and for that 400 XP legendary, you're now getting 1200 XP. And so selling the 14 samples that I got to make up the mountain and grassland habitat collection, and instead of getting the normal 700 XP, I got 2100 XP. Then when you trade in your stamps, you get paid $140 and get an additional 1000 XP. This normally doesn't have a bonus when Naturalist sales have bonuses, so that's worth keeping in mind. But in the end, if you do this collection and sell it off, you'll normally only get $172 for doing it, but you will get 1700 XP. And if you're lucky enough to be doing this during a triple bonus month, well then you'll get $238 and a whopping 3100 XP. So if you do have a few levels left in the Naturalist role and it is an event month, well, might be the time to finish it off. That said, during that kind of a period where you're getting triple for your legendary animal sales, I'd probably be focused more on doing like legendary animal sighting missions once you get to level 5, as you'll be getting the 1200 XP for the legendary animal and 300 XP for the mission. That means you could probably get around 6000 XP if you can do 4 of those missions an hour, which is not as good as if you were just going to focus on collections, but it will pay more and it will be a lot less grindy than just filling up the collections. Focusing on collections as well always has a slight problem. Like, there's always maybe 1 or 2 animals in a collection that are going to be harder to get and to get to spawn. For example, if you're going to focus on the mountain and grasslands, that timber wolf spawn is such a head wreck. You'll get a lot of grey wolves, but that timber wolf can be annoying to spawn. Or if you're doing like the river and woods one, then like the moose has a very slow spawn as well. So my advice in all of that is kind of know roughly where those animals that are kind of problematic spawn. You'll figure them out fairly quickly, I think, and then kind of adjust your approach so that you're kind of around those areas the most, just so that you'll kind of be nabbing the problematic ones, hopefully better, while you're just picking off the easy ones on the side. If you are choosing to work through a collection and want to know roughly where all the animals spawn, I have fairly detailed guides on each of them, and I will link a playlist for those in the description of this video here. Just to quickly go over how much money you can make doing the Naturalist Role. Personally, I wouldn't be focused on the Naturalist Role for making money. A lot of people will just want to rank up through this as fast as possible and then use the legendary animal sighting missions to be able to supply your trader role, which will make you a lot more money in the long run. But if you are trying to make money because you only have the Naturalist Role so far, well, I would probably just again focus on collections and selling your samples, and that is how you will make your money. The different collections are worth different amounts, and I'll put a list of all the different amounts and values those collections are worth. But to be honest, I would focus on one that you can do well and efficiently, as opposed to one that's going to take you a lot of time to do. So for example, like the legendary animal collections are worth a lot more, as you can see, but the truth is it'll be inconsistent trying to get the free roam ones to spawn for you, so you could spend a long time trying to complete that. So I would focus on just the normal ones. When you reach rank 4, you'll open up 2 free roam events for the Naturalist Role. The first is the Protect Legendary Animal event, where you work with a bunch of other people to escort a legendary animal to a destination. You can kill and loot all the poachers, and you gain XP as well as some animal pelts along the way. There's also the wild animal tagging, where you compete against other people to sedate and sample animals. There's only a set amount of each animals that can be sampled for points, and once the sample quotas are filled, or the timer runs out, the event ends. They can be interesting to jump on, but if you're just trying to make money or rank it up, I wouldn't be kind of doing these exclusively. And at rank 7, there's going to be some free roam poacher hideouts that will pop up, and you look, they're easy to do, and you'll get a little extra XP as well if you do them, and they can be useful. But the real core of the Naturalist Role is the legendary animals. There is 42 of them for you to either hunt or sample, and not only will these give you more XP per sample and pelt, but you'll also get more money for each. There's 2 ways of doing this. The first is going to be through Harriet's legendary animal sighting missions, and the second way is just coming across them in free roam. When you're roaming around the virtual frontier, just keep an eye out for a gold question mark, and that means that a legendary animal has spawned nearby. You are given a map that will have the locations for legendary animals on it, and as you progress through the Naturalist Role, you will get more legendary animals added that can spawn for you in free roam. If you're looking for how to hunt and capture a specific and legendary animal in free roam, I have a bunch of guides for them as well. I'll leave a link to that below in the description as well, so you can check it out if there is one in particular you're trying to track down. 14 of the legendary animals will be available from Harriet's sighting missions, and these will rotate every 40 minutes or so, giving you 3 new legendary animals to hunt or sample. These are by far a better way of going about getting legendary animal samples or pelts if that's what you want, and it's really worth noting as well that not all legendary animals are worth the same amount. Animals that you either hunt or sample in the sighting missions are worth a lot more, usually double, than they are if you found the same ones in free roam. Looking at the bears, for example, both the Owiza and Ridgeback spawn in free roam, while the Golden Spirit Bear is a legendary sighting missions. And as you can see, you're only going to get like 25 to 31 trader pelt material value, or about 18 to 21 sample value for both of the free roam bears, but for the Golden Spirit Bear, you will get almost twice that for either or. There's a cooldown on the spawns for legendary animals as well, and when you kill one of a certain species of animal, the rest of that species will have a 72-hour real hour cooldown. So, for example, with the bears, if you were to kill a Golden Spirit Bear, then there's going to be a real 72-hour cooldown for both the other free roam bears. Thankfully though, if you whack one in free roam, it won't affect the sighting mission coming up, and the spawns are per person, so even if you have a cooldown, if there's somebody else in the lobby that doesn't have the cooldown, it might spawn there as well for you. For those completionists among you, you might notice that in the animal field guide, there is some extra stuff you can do for some extra XP, such as tracking, sedating, skinning, as well as reviving. When you do come across a legendary animal free roam, the last thing you want to do is stop, pull out the field guide and go in and check. So I put together this handy little PDF that you could like print off if you wanted, and then tick off the legendary animals and what you need while you complete this. I put it over on my website if you want to download it over there, and as usual a link is in the description. Now, although you generally get half the amount for either a sample or a pelt from the animals that you find in Freeroam, compared to if you were to hunt that type of animal in a sighting mission, there is a way that you can get both the sample and the legendary carcass from the Freeroam animals. You can only get one when you do a sighting mission, but there is a workaround so you can get both for some of the Freeroam legendary animals. Now this will only work with like medium-sized Freeroam legendary animals, so if you come across the bear or moose, well yeah, you're out of luck. The way this works is pretty simple. If you come across a medium-sized legendary animal Freeroam, whip out your varmint rifle and sedate the animal, then you and your posse can all sample the legendary animal. Then you want to kill and pick up the legendary animal and place it on your horse. Then flee your horse, and when you call it back, you should have the legendary animal still on the horse, in which case you can just donate it straight into Crypt's materials or throw it into your hunting wagon for later if you wish. For me personally, sedating the legendary animals straight off the bat was always my go-to because I was trying to complete the animal field guide. So knocking them out first let me have a chance to look through the guide, see what I needed, and if I needed to kill them and skin them, well, I could always just wake them up and do that. What makes the Naturalist role such a great role as well is it's really good supportive role for the trader role if you have it. That's because you can use Harriet sighting missions to nab yourself some legendary animal pelts and fill up your trader materials very, very quickly. So once you have reached the rank 5 and those sighting missions have opened up, instead of getting a sample like Harriet asked, you can just kill the animal and get its pelt. Normally what I'll do then is just throw it straight into a hunting wagon when I come back into Freeroam. That way the next time Crypts is looking for materials, I can just call in my hunting wagon and fill up the materials. Because although you do get some money from either selling those legendary pelts to Gus or the butcher, I think you get more money for, selling a large cart of trader goods, so that's usually what I do. That said, I would sell at least one pelt to Gus just so I will have access for him to make one of the legendary garment sets. So you will notice that not all legendary animals are just happy to be hunted, and some of them will begin to hunt you. And regardless of what horse and how much of a bond you've built with that horse, the truth is once that legendary animal is coming for you and you're on your horse, you are going to get bucked off. Now your main instinct here will always be to get the higher ground, in which case you can shoot down and kill the legendary animal from a distance. If you have a cart or a hunting wagon like so, you can use that also to easily kill a aggressive legendary animal, but by far the easiest way to do this is just equip the ability card slow and steady. If you are using the ability card slow and steady, no matter what the animal does, it will not be able to knock you off your horse. This means as long as your Deadeye is full, you can just sit there comfortably on your horse and shoot the legendary animal until it's dead or it is knocked out. Which probably brings us nicely into the what is the legendary animal loadout that I would personally use. Well, I am normally a painted back player and I just normally keep that card on when I come across a legendary animal in Freeroam, especially if it's passive. The reason for this is, although I can't tag it with an X, it will reduce the bloom while I'm shooting at it as long as the Deadeye is active, which can help make sure that my shots are accurate, especially if I'm trying to shoot at it pretty quickly. Obviously, for the reasons I stated earlier, if I come across an aggressive legendary animal, I might switch over to slow and steady. Other than the choice of the two of them, the other kind of cards I might use while hunting legendary animals would be a card like Winning Streak. The reason I would use the Winning Streak ability card is because these legendary animals do take a lot of hits to take down, and Winning Streak will compact the damage you do with more and more shots. I think it's capped at 3. Because I'm often hunting legendary animals while I'm on horseback, I will just equip the horseman ability card to get the boost from that. And again, because I'm normally on a horse while hunting these, using peak condition can be a great way to get an extra boost as your stamina is not being decreased as you're on your horse. To be honest, this setup is really just a general hunting ability card setup, so like it would be handy if you had that equipped while you come across them. But the truth of the matter is, like when you come across a legendary animal in free roam, you don't really have the time to go through your ability cards, so you kind of go with what's what. That said, might be worth switching in and out the slow and steady if it is an aggressive legendary animal that you come across. So to be quite honest, when most people want to learn how to rank up the trader role fast, they really just want to get to level 5. As it is a bit of a grind, but at level 5 you will unlock the legendary sighting missions, and that will help your trader role immensely. As I said earlier, if you want to do this, you'll be focusing on the collections, but I do think it is worth ranking through everything because there is a few other things that I definitely want to pick up as well. Most notably, at level 15, you'll be able to track animals for longer, and also there is a tonic satchel upgrade which will allow you to carry more tonics. I would imagine that is a must, but there's also some skills in there that will help you track down legendary animals, which will help you in your trader role as well, and there is some cosmetic items as well. So personally, I would always unlock the full Naturalist Role. And with all the information, if you're still here, you know exactly how you can do that. Not only that, you will know so much more than the average person would probably know who's playing Red Dead Online. This guide covers absolutely everything, so it really is from beginner to advanced here, and there was a crazy amount of work from just researching as well as editing to make this as good as possible for you. So if you like this kind of stuff, why not consider leaving a like and a comment to let me know, or if you have any other tips and tricks on the Naturalist Role, why not let us all know in the description. As always, massive thanks to the members. You guys are incredible, and I wouldn't be able to do this without you, so thanks.